On June 12, 2016, the city of Orlando, Florida, would witness one of the deadliest mass shootings in modern U.S. history. 72 lives were lost that night, and more than 50 others were injured. Before we begin, a warning. This episode contains descriptions of violence and tragedy. Some content may be difficult to watch. Please take care of yourself and step away if needed. This is Stories from the Vault. I'm Kyle Fields, and today we're going into the FBI's own records of the Pulse Nightclub attack, what agents documented in real time, how the investigation unfolded, and the unprecedented challenges they faced in the aftermath. We're not here to sensationalize. We're here to recount the facts as recorded in official FBI files. It was just after 2 a.m. on June 12, 2016, when Pulse Nightclub in Orlando, Florida, became the center of a horrifying attack. According to the FBI situational reports, the shooter entered the club armed and began firing indiscriminately at patrons. The nightclub, a space meant for celebration and safety, quickly became a scene of chaos and terror. Guests ran for exits, hid wherever they could, and tried desperately to protect one another. Emergency calls flooded 911 dispatch centers as first responders scrambled to contain the situation. The FBI's initial response team arrived within minutes, establishing communication with local law enforcement and beginning what would become a complex tactical and investigative operation. Agents documented the shooter's movements, the layout of the nightclub, and the location of the hostages. Inside, patrons were trapped, barricading themselves where possible. Officers coordinated evacuation efforts while simultaneously assessing the threat, all in real time, relying on every scrap of information available. By 5 a.m., the situation reached a deadly conclusion. But the work for investigators had only just begun. The FBI would spend weeks meticulously gathering evidence, reviewing surveillance footage, and piecing together the timeline of events. As the sun rose over Orlando, Florida on June 12, 2016, the FBI had already begun piecing together the night's events. Agents worked side by side with local law enforcement, reviewing dispatch logs, 911 recordings, and initial witness statements. Every detail mattered. The shooter's entry point, the weapons used, the movements inside the club, and the number of casualties. The FBI's crisis response team quickly took command, establishing a secure perimeter and coordinating with SWAT units. Internal memos later obtained from the vault detail the challenges. The shooter had barricaded himself in the club, hostages were trapped, and communication lines were fragmented. Every decision carried life or death consequences. Agents also began tracing the shooter's background. While his name is recorded once in official documents, the FBI focused on behavior patterns, prior contacts with law enforcement, and any indicators of radicalization. These reports highlight the meticulous intelligence work that often goes unnoticed by the public. By mid-morning, tactical teams had secured the scene, but the investigation had only just begun. The FBI would spend the following days reviewing video surveillance, social media activity, and digital footprints to construct a timeline down to the minute. Internal vault reports show the exhaustive coordination required across local, state, and federal agencies. Even in the immediate hours, the scale of the tragedy was clear. Casualties, injuries, and the psychological impact on the community would reverberate for years. Yet the FBI's documentation ensured that the events, the victims, and the operational decisions were preserved in precise detail, an archive of evidence and accountability. In the days following the attack, the FBI's investigation expanded rapidly. Agents meticulously documented every piece of evidence from the scene: bullet casings, ballistic trajectories, surveillance footage, digital communications, and witness statements. Each fragment became a larger piece of the puzzle. Internal vault reports show the scale of coordination required. The FBI worked closely with the Orlando Police Department, state law enforcement, and federal agencies to ensure every lead was followed. The tactical maps were drawn to trace the shooter's movements, and forensic analysts combed through digital records for any sign of planning or outside influence. One of the most critical aspects of the investigation was understanding the shooter's behavior and motives. Rather than amplifying his name or ideology, agents focused on patterns, prior law enforcement interactions, digital activity, and communications that could indicate radicalization or intent. Vault files reveal that the FBI maintained a strict operational focus. Everything documented was for investigative purposes, not for public spectacle. The FBI also faced a unique challenge. The nightclub had a dense layout, and hostages were trapped during the attack. Tactical assessments after the incident highlighted how critical split-second decisions were for saving lives and securing evidence. Internal communications detailed the painstaking efforts of crisis responders coordinating evacuation, medical aid, and containment simultaneously. Another layer of the investigation involved digital forensics. Mobile devices, social media accounts, and online communications were preserved and analyzed to reconstruct the shooter's timeline. Vault memos describe how agents tracked online interactions and evaluated potential connections, ensuring nothing was overlooked. By the end of the first week, the FBI had compiled a comprehensive timeline detailing every moment of the attack and the immediate response. Reports emphasized the lessons learned, particularly in crisis management, interagency coordination, and evidence preservation. These files remain a stark reminder of the scope and precision of federal investigations, even in the face of tragic loss. The Pulse Nightclub investigation wasn't just about documenting what happened. It was about creating a permanent record for accountability, understanding, and prevention. Every step taken by the FBI, every memo, and every piece of evidence exists in the vault for one reason: to ensure the truth of that night is preserved. In the weeks and months after the attack, the FBI shifted its focus from immediate crisis response to long-term investigation and analysis. Agents continued to examine digital records, surveillance footage, and witness testimonies to ensure a complete and accurate account of the night. Vault reports detail the extensive coordination required across federal, state, and local agencies. Analysts reviewed the shooter's digital footprint, communications, and prior law enforcement encounters. The tactical lessons were documented for future active shooter responses, while internal memos highlighted an area for improvement in interagency communication. The FBI also monitored for potential accomplices or similar threats. Investigators traced contacts, examined online forums, and cross-referenced known extremist groups. Each lead was meticulously logged, even when no actionable threat was discovered. These efforts ensured that the attack remained an isolated incident and prevented the possibility of a copycat violence. Beyond the investigation itself, the FBI files reflect the broader societal impact. Agents documented community responses, vigils, and the outpouring of national solidarity. Reports note the psychological toll on first responders, survivors, and the families of victims. These memos, while administrative, paint a picture of the human cost that extends far beyond the statistics. Additionally, the FBI reviewed its own procedures in the wake of Pulse. Recommendations were made for improved crisis management, rapid intelligence sharing, and active shooter protocols. Internal communications emphasized the importance of lessons learned, not just for law enforcement, but for public safety nationwide. The Pulse Nightclub files in the vault remain a comprehensive record of both tragedy and response. They document what happened, how the FBI acted, and the steps taken to prevent future attacks. For anyone studying the events, these files provide a rare, unfiltered look into the operations of a federal agency facing one of the most challenging and heartbreaking investigations in modern history. The Pulse Nightclub tragedy is remembered for the lives lost, the bravery of first responders, and the resilience of a community forever changed. The FBI's records provide a window into the painstaking work that went into understanding what happened, and ensuring accountability. Every memo, every timeline, and every piece of evidence preserved in the vault tells a story, not of the shooter, but of the victims, the responders, and the lessons learned from that night. These files serve as a reminder that even in the face of unspeakable tragedy, law enforcement and federal agencies work tirelessly to document, investigate, and protect. As we reflect on the events of June 12, 2016, it's important to remember the human cost, the lives affected, and the need for vigilance in preventing future attacks. The Pulse investigation, as preserved in the FBI vault, stands as both a record and a testament to the dedication of those tasked for upholding justice. Next time on Stories from the Vault, we turn to the Oklahoma City bombing, another tragedy that shook the nation and tested the FBI's capabilities in unprecedented ways. Until then, take care of one another. Remember the lives lost and know the truth is preserved, even when it's difficult to confront. I'm Kyle Fields. Good day.